Schedule. Come by on the last Saturday of each month at 9 in the morning. Greenhouse Ministries is at 307 South Academy Street in Murfreesboro. The Red Cross is still critically low on blood, more so than ever. Please give the gift of life. Phone the Red Cross at 800-RED-CROSS and make an appointment to give blood at a time that fits your schedule. Here in Rutherford County, the Red Cross is at 501 Memorial Boulevard. Don't throw away old glory. Bring your tattered American flag to WGNS and let the girls from BSA Troop 2019 at Trinity United Methodist Church retire it with dignity. Plus, we also recycle Bibles. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor events.
Rutherford weather.
Cloudy skies expected today with daytime highs approaching 39. Cloudy skies expected again tonight, lows dip down to about 20. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on News Radio WGNS. Right now, 35.
WGNS is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. Switch your ceiling fans to run clockwise at a low speed. It pushes trapped warm air down to the floor where you need it. Find more tips at mte.com/myenergyplan.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
Welcome back into the Roundtable on this Wednesday. Becky Clayton and Missy Layer here from the Murfreesboro Kiwanis Club, and they've got a big event coming up this Friday night. Comedy for a Cause, and obviously it raises funds for the nonprofit. And the headliner is Judson Lipley. And let's see if we can, if Judson is going to be able to hear. I think he can hear us. Pretty sure he can hear us. Well, I'm not sure if he can see us.
Oh, there he is.
And we can hear him.
I can see you.
There we go. So all is well in the world. Judson, how are you this morning?
I'm well. How are you all doing?
Doing great. And we're looking forward to having you in town here on Friday night and yucking it up with everybody.
Me as well. I'm really looking forward to it. I've been looking forward to it for a long time.
Okay, well, good deal. And you guys have been super excited, Becky and Missy, about Judson being the headliner. And because, if anybody who gets on the internet, if one of the first things you ever saw was evolution of dance, and this is the guy who did it. So,
it is.
So talk about the process of getting him involved in this show.
Yeah, Becky. We got last year's comedians. Like 3 days later, she's like, "You know who we should get next year?"
So
we've had our eye on him for a while.
Yeah. So I'm kind of I was looking back at my Facebook, and I really think Judson probably thinks I've been stalking him for the last 2 decades.
Well, you have.
I have, apparently. So Judson actually has a great tie-in with our Key Clubs. We've been in here talking before about what Kiwanis does, and Key Clubs in our high school is one of our major things that we support. And Judson has actually been supporting Key Club just as long as we have, it seems like. He was hired to speak at the district convention for Kentucky, Tennessee for the Key Clubs, and I think they've had him like every 4 to 6 years. They have him come back when
once a new group graduates,
and they haven't seen him. They get him back as a speaker, and
that's how history stays in our minds.
Yeah.
We just keep driving it home.
Yeah. I mean, if you got a good thing, but I mean, he was there before the evolution of dance, before he even posted that video. He had performed for the Key Clubs.
Judson, have you checked lately? How many views does that have on YouTube? Do you check it every morning? And
Not anymore. There definitely was a time frame when I was refreshing the browser every few minutes, but it sits at about 315 million views.
Wow.
Currently.
That's unbelievable.
I just want 10.
Yeah, 10 views. 10 views, I'm good. And but kind of talk a little bit about what Becky was and Missy were talking about, that sometimes there's serendipity in that here they are in Kiwanis and support Key Clubs, and little did they know that you've been doing that for a long time. And so what got you into that to go along with your burgeoning comedy career that's been going on for quite a while now?
Sure. So I was in my parents were big fans of this gentleman named Zig Ziglar, who was one of the original business
I'll
sales.
meet you at the top.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I mean, when I was in high school, I love Kiwanis, but I participated in something called the Rotary Four-Way Test Speech Contest when I was a junior. So I apologize for calling
We
out
love
another
Rotary.
service organization.
That's cool.
But I actually used some of Zig's stuff in that. So I've always been a follower of the world of professional speaking. I was fortunately kind of good at it, and I always had that on the back burner as that's what I wanted to do. Undergrad, graduate school, I kept doing it and learning more and more about it. And one of the things that you learn is when you're on stage, the ability to elicit emotion is very important. I am very lucky, knock on wood. I have a pretty much privileged life of middle America, 2 parents, 2 siblings, all those good things, and never really had to overcome a whole lot of adversity. So I started studying comedy and using comedy as a tool to basically keep audiences' attention. Fast forward a couple years, came up with this idea for this dance routine to kind of cap off the whole show. And luckily for me, 5 years after I started doing the dance, I threw a video of it up onto YouTube, and right place, right time. And the rest is YouTube history, as they like to say.
So what was the genesis of the evolution of dance? What gave you that idea that said, okay, I can do a full bit about white guys dancing?
So kind of looking back at it, I don't remember a specific. I talk a lot about change when I'm kind of fortunate that I kind of have 2 tracks. I can do all comedy, but I oftentimes mix comedy and content. And one of the themes I use a lot is everything changes, and that's neither good nor bad. That's just the way the world is. And so I was trying to come up with something to do to illustrate that. And I have a friend who currently talks about something that he calls talent stacking, which is figuring out all the different things you're good at and how can you combine them together to create maybe something new. And so I was thinking of all the things I could do, and I remember thinking, how many songs have a very specific dance? If you hear that song, you go, that's the dance I want to do, or that's what I visualize someone doing that dance. And I was like, oh, that's pretty funny. That'd be funny to see some of those in a medley. I could do that. And then I was like, that'd be funny to see some of those in order. And I wrote down the term evolution of dance, learned how to mix music on a computer, went out and performed it one night for the very first time, just a few songs, like 12 songs. And the reaction was fantastic. And I remember talking with a friend right afterwards, and they were like, yeah, that's going to be your thing. Like, that's going to be your finishing bit. That's going to be your signature. So you better get cracking.
Yeah. And like you said, 315 million views later, and that doesn't count, everybody who has seen you do it live and in person. But when you put all that together, and that's kind of cool that you're not just the yuck guy, that you go out and you do, whether it's motivational type or other type of content, and that's kind of neat. But what comedians, when you got started, were guys who guys and gals who kind of inspired you to think, okay, I could maybe do this because they're really good, and it seems like they're having a lot of fun. Who were some names to kind of throw back, because I know you're going to hit some in my era?
So the thing about comedy that's so amazing is the people who do it so well have such a well diverse range of skill sets. And when I first started speaking, I did a lot of work in the college market. And at the time, there were a lot of comics coming up through the college market because they would go to colleges, and that's kind of a good way for comics to make some money when they're on the road. And so I saw a guy named Mike Birbiglia when he was first getting started.
My favorite.
And he is one of the best storytelling comics that I think I've ever seen. Brian Regan, Jim Gaffigan, Chris Rock was always amazing, because if you watch Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle, they're not set up punchline joke. They're oftentimes driven by real world experiences that they see, and they just kind of have this great take on that. I think I said Brian Regan already. He's been one of my favorites because he can take just the simplest concepts and turn it into this great thing. And then, you look at some of the ones who have become big in the last 5-10 years. Nikki Glazer is an incredible writer and has a great team around her. Who's the Big Eyes guy?
Obviously, you had
Nate
Bargatze.
Nate Bargatze from right up the road,
Old Hickory,
and from Old Hickory, and of course, the whole thing kind of exploded when the blue collar guys went wild, and Ron White and the Larry the Cable Guy, and Jeff Foxworthy,
and the Kings of Comedy,
all those guys.
I'll
tell you one of the funniest guys. Well, I'm so old. I saw Jay Leno at Zany's.
I thought
in
he was going to
Nashville.
say Jerry Clower.
No, I did. I've interviewed Jerry Clower. I interviewed Jerry Clower back when I was at halftime of a basketball game at the SEC tournament one year. and I swear, and God rest his soul, the one thing I remembered about Jerry Clower, because we were obviously in pretty close proximity, is he had eaten something that had a lot of garlic in it, and so that was the one thing that I remembered. But he was something else.
He was good.
Also at Zany's one night, I saw Tim Wilson, who I thought was, again, you talked about guys with different skill sets. He could tell a joke, he could tell a story, and again, he passed away. But he also had all the funny songs, like church league softball, fist fight, and all that kind of stuff. But I saw him, and there's a friend of mine. I ended up with a ticket, like on a Sunday afternoon. Somebody calls it, hey, here's 2 tickets for see Tim Wilson tonight at Zany's, and it was a Sunday afternoon, and I was looking, okay, who can I get to go? And so called a friend of mine who lives here in town, and she is like a super pretty lady, and so we get there, and they say, where would you like to sit? We can either we've got 2 seats left right by the stage, or you set up, in
behind a post,
up there somewhere. So I told her, I said, hey, it's up to you. And so she said, let's go down front. So we went down front. We were sitting on the corner of the stage, and Tim comes out. He starts, kind of sizing up the room and going right around the front. And he sees me sitting with this lady, and like I said, she's gorgeous. And he looks at her, and he looks at me. And he looks at her, and he looks at me, and he goes, I don't know, whatever you're doing, just keep doing it, But anyway, that's great. I think we're all a little bit, we take little bits of everybody that we all like doing whatever we do, and that's made Judson Lively what he is today. And how many dates do you do a year, typically?
So I'm around between 30 and 40 shows a year. So I don't really do the comedy club scene, mostly because I was a speaker from the get-go, and you work a lot of weekends. And once I met my wife and started dating her, I realized I'd much rather have a relationship. So
yeah, I understand.
I'm sure
that.
she appreciates that.
Correct.
Becky, you got some questions for Judson?
I've known Judson for a long time, follow him on Facebook, but I do have, in preparation for you coming here, I do want to make sure that we, make Murfreesboro a welcoming place in the Walnut House. First of all, I know, it'll be probably a lot like when you went on Oprah. So I just want to make sure, did she give you a car when you were on Oprah? I'm just trying to see what we've got to,
what do we have to do?
What do we have to do to keep up our
So,
Ellen?
I already told you, in the green room, I require water at 66 degrees and Twizzlers cut in half with the end snipped off, because I like to drink my water through the Twizzlers. That's very important. It gives it a strawberry flavor.
Okay. So seriously, though, what was it like going on the Oprah show?
I got to do a bunch of television shows, and the one thing you learn right away is what they are able to pull off on camera versus what's going on in the real world at the time they're filming is absolutely just astonishing, because it is controlled chaos. I remember one of the shows I was on, there was somebody literally holding the drapes together because nobody could find the clips. And so you can't see the person on television, but there's somebody standing back there because there was a gap in the drapes. And they're like, somebody's got, like, the producers are yelling down, somebody go close that gap. But Oprah was a lot of fun. The show that I did with Oprah was all around YouTube, and they had just sold YouTube to Google for $1.2 billion. And the 2 founders of YouTube, Chad and Steve, were very notorious for never doing interviews. but they came on the show. And I was sitting next to them, and I asked them one time during a commercial break, I was like, what prompted you to come on? And they just looked at me and they're like, it's Oprah. They're like, she asked. I was like, oh, okay. And I think at that time she was literally the pinnacle, and being able to get on that show and be part of that's a perfect example of it. Was just like, she's the one. She at that time was the one. She was kind of the anointer. Everyone was positioning to get on her show or have their products featured by her, because she was the original influencer, really.
And then 20 years later, you get the call from the Murfreesboro Kiwanis, and you're like, oh my gosh, I've made it.
Oh,
I thought
100%
Oprah
better.
was big.
I mean, Oprah's nothing now. I mean, no one under the age of 20 even knows who she is. You say Oprah, and they're like, who's that?
That's true, and yeah. So now I do have a question about the staging. Missy and I are going over to the Walnut House this afternoon to set up, how the tables and chairs are going to be.
I think we're getting some behind the scenes here.
Yeah, so we got to talk about the setup. Normally, we do put tables really close up, like right under, but I'm like, I don't know. I've seen Judson dance. I mean, are we still doing are we going to kick somebody? How far back do we need people? What do we need to be ready for?
Well, unfortunately, the worm is no longer part of the evolution of dance. I had to take that out about.
It's evolutionized out.
Correct. I took that out when I turned 40, because one day I was like, "Why are my knees so sore?" And then I realized, it's flopping around on the floor. My running joke is always that me doing the dance is going to go from funny to sad someday. And I just need to know when that is, and my friends and family need to make sure they let me know.
Somebody needs to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah. When the applause oh, that was great, to, oh, good try.
Now, with it being the tie-in of it being a Kiwanis event, and you having supported key clubs for as long as you have, what is it about this organization and the goals that they have for young people and how they help them out? What about that has kind of lit your fire to continue to support them?
Yeah, Kiwanis is a service organization first and foremost, and what they try to do both in their collegiate, high school, and even elementary, they're instilling the idea of servant leadership. And as we live in a world where we do our best to make the world a better place, we know that the world's not perfect. And some of us are fortunate to have been either lucky or privileged or whatever you want to call it. And the ability to give back in some way, shape, or form is, I think, first and foremost, extremely important for anyone, let alone leadership. And so when you have an organization like Kiwanis, whose goal is to continue to spread the concept and idea of servant leadership, any way that I can support that is always going to be at the top of my list.
Well, you guys can't have a better,
description
than that 100%. Right there. That's exactly why you do what you do.
I was going to say, that made me excited to be a Kiwanian. I mean, that's 100% what it's about. It's about giving back to the community. As someone who grew up here, giving back to the community that made me who I am. Like, it's priceless.
Well, Judson, I appreciate you taking some time today and coming on with us. And I know you're going to have a great show Friday night over at the Walnut House, and hopefully we're going to let folks know that might not have tickets yet, just how they can get it and fill up that room and help some folks out. And the evolution of dance, it's going to go from the worm to more ballroom type stuff, less contact as the older you get.
I mean, eventually it's going to go to the evolution of chair dance.
Well, for me it would be for me it'd be like the old VFW shuffle. That'd be about it. But Judson, thanks so much for coming on today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me, and everybody make sure you get out and get your tickets and come join us on Friday night for one of the two shows.
Yep, we'll see you there. Travel safe.
There it is. Judson Lipley joining us today. You can catch, you want a little preview, find him on YouTube or just type in Evolution of Dance, and that'll be part of what you see on Friday night over at the Walnut House. Roundtable here on this Wednesday morning, continuing along here on WGNS. Fun Girls. We'll have our final segment coming up after this.
Whether it's a cough, a fever, or something you can't quite name, MMC Now makes care easy. Walk right in, get seen quickly, and your visit connects directly to your MMC doctor. Care you trust, with providers you know, with digital check-in and multiple locations around town. MMC Now is here when you need us.
Murfreesboro Medical Clinic.
What's the location of your emergency? I think my kid OD'd.
Hi, I'm Craig Harris. I'm County Commissioner of Rutherford County. One of the reasons I ran for office is because I wanted to bring awareness to the opioid epidemic that's impacting our county. To stop providing this epidemic with people as we educate. We have a lot to do, and we have to come together as a community because this problem's not going away.
When the weather turns bad, minutes, even seconds matter.
This is an early heads up for southern Rutherford County.
Rutherford Weather brings you live radar and expert meteorologist insight, giving you the early heads up when storms threaten.
A lot of areas are going to see some impacts from this storm.
From analysis to live camera views, we keep you informed before, during, and after the storm.
I think the vast majority of the hail with this now is going to be quarter to perhaps golf ball size.
Rutherford Weather. Stay ahead of the storm.
Yeah, I'll be right there.
It takes all of us to power a community, both in plain sight and behind the scenes. Middle Tennessee Electric, bringing good energy.
If I had to rate the office of John Day,
I would definitely give him a 5-star rating.
a 20 stars.
Probably like 100 stars. John Day's office was wonderful.
They are caring.
Call the law offices of John Day.
I would recommend them to everyone.
Over 1,000 times a year, a lawyer refers someone who needs help in a personal injury or wrongful death case to us because we treat every referral in a timely, professional way. Trust the lawyers other lawyers trust. Trust the law offices of John Day.
Lace up your best kicks for a night of impact benefiting First Shot. Join us for the annual Sneaker Ball presented by Venture Express. Spend Sunday, April 26th with NFL Hall of Famer and Super Bowl MVP Marcus Allen. The event kicks off at 6 with a VIP meet and greet at 5. Reserve your table today. Call Coach Andy Herzer at 615-631-5312. We'll see you at the Sneaker Ball, benefiting First Shot on April 26th.
Hey, Rutherford County sports fans, from auto, home, renters, business insurance, and more, trust your local State Farm agents. Celeste Middleton, Ron Reeves, Emerson Williams, Alex Williams, Dana Womack, and Andy Womack. This powerful team lives here, works here, and are your neighbors. They're ready to help you manage everyday risk, recover from the unexpected, and realize your dreams. Contact Celeste, Ron, Emerson, Alex, Dana, or Andy for all of your insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
Welcome back into the Wednesday Roundtable. Chip Walters along with Becky Clayton and Missy Lay here. And hope you were able to hear our last segment with Judson Lipley. He will be the headliner for Comedy for a Cause Friday night at the Walnut House, which is right downtown Murfreesboro. And I think, obviously you caught a little bit of his sense of humor, but also that he is doing his comedy for a cause these days, yes. and for you guys that's terrific.
Yeah, he's awesome. And we also have, we didn't mention Tara Brown. We are going to have an
let's talk about her a little bit.
Yeah, Tara Brown. She's an older lady, so I like to say she's a woman of a certain age. She's going through a lot of the same life things that most of us are, and just her ability to tell a story. We shared a video on Facebook of her. I
kind of get a feeling she's going to be kind of a Leanne Morgan-ish type.
Yeah,
storytelling, life stories, things like that.
And, as Judson said, life is comedy. But we shared a video of her. She was talking about how her goal was to run a 5K, and she tried the year before, and she finished dead last. But that came with with benefits, you got a police escort. You got to help pick up the cones,
Which is extra cardio.
Extra cardio, yeah. So she's really funny, and we're looking forward to having her. She's our first female comic for
really?
comedy,
Yeah.
so we're excited to have her. Sure.
So when you all decided that this was going to be an event several years ago to start doing a comedy show, because I mean, it's not like every Friday night you can go to a comedy club here in town.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, what was the genesis of that?
Well, essentially, the Kiwanians had lost the softball program that the city took over. They ran the concession stand, and that was
right. Yeah.
that was the money they used to their budget for the year and how they served the public.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, what are we going to do now? How can we? And they brought me in just as a consultant, and I pitched several ideas, and they were like, hey, let's do that one. And through a particular connection, we got Henry Cho. And so that was amazing. It was right before he was on the Grand Ole Opry.
Before he blew up,
Yeah.
Henry.
His second career, sure.
I know,
Yeah.
he's hilarious. A guy, went from Knoxville, and married a girl from Arab, Alabama. And but everybody knows him now. So
Yeah.
you've been kind of a launching pad there for him.
Yep. Yeah, and so I worked closely with them to pull off the event, and then immediately was like, I want to be a Kiwanian. Like I had known, I grew up here, I knew Stones River Kiwanis from the softball program.
Yep.
We played that, but learning what they actually do, it was a no brainer. I was suddenly like, how can I become a member? So I've been a member since our first comedy event. I created a cheer for our motto.
Yeah, you need to come visit us for lunch one day, and Missy will lead our cheer. There's all kinds.
Yeah, we have a motto that when I got there, it was like Kiwanis is a global organization. So I've said, guys, this is something that we need to get excited about. Like Kiwanis is a global organization of volunteers, and they're like, some of the older members are like, whatever, but they're
getting into it. I think a little bit more.
To me, it's important. It's something to be excited about. What we do is excited. So I quickly became the a Kiwanian. I mean, last year's Kiwanian of the year.
Are you the girl who gets excited when you go to sales training and say, we're going to break up into groups and do role play now?
I hate that girl.
Maybe.
Oh.
But yeah, here we are. This is our fourth one. I mean, we've had some really great comedians. We pull a lot from what's called dry bar comedy, which is good, clean comedy from local areas.
Yep.
So we love that. We've had some really good folks. Last year we had Mike Goodwin, who was on America's Got Talent, and he was so good. And they typically pick their openers. And so we're like, we don't know what we're getting. And last year, I mean, Don Garrett was amazing. Like we quickly started following him and his career and stuff. So it's just really cool to be able to bring something like this to Murfreesboro. Because again, it's not something that you get to do every Friday.
Yeah,
and
you don't have to drive to Nashville.
Yeah,
you
don't have to go to Nashville. You don't have to pay parking. You don't have to a 2-drink minimum. You don't have.
You could do this a couple of times a year. You really could. And I think it would go great. And like Judson is famous for evolution of dance. I mean, and we were just kind of, we have evolutionized our conversation here in talking about the evolution of comedy, because when people of a certain age were in college, it was, Eddie Murphy, Raw, and and it was
Robin Williams, George Carlin.
Well, you had all that, and it wasn't all necessarily clean, and to see what has happened with Nate Bargatze in particular, because he's kind of the standard bearer right now of clean comedy.
Yeah,
that it's and for all of us, it's like, oh yeah, I know where he's talking about, or and I know his dad, because his dad worked with TSSAA.
Right. Well, and Kevin Hart
like
tried to get him to cuss on, and he wouldn't do it. He's like, no, it's not who I am, man.
It's just,
He's like, come on, just let one slip. And he's like, no.
And he doesn't do it in his regular life. That's just not who he is. But okay, let's talk about tickets, tables, all of the stuff.
Sure.
And so we want to pack this place on Friday night.
Yeah. Right. So the main details this Friday night, February 6th, we have 2 shows, one at 6 p.m. and one at 8 p.m. It's at the Walnut House downtown, 116 North Walnut. It's a beautiful venue if you haven't been there. Ricky at the Walnut House is one of the hardest working gentlemen in the town.
The upstairs room, I mean, it'll be be pretty intimate.
Yes. There's.
Not a
I mean,
bad
you're
seat in the house.
you're never more than 20 yards from the stage. I mean, it's amazing. And each seat is at a table. It's pretty much like Zany's. You come in and our sponsors get reserved tables, and then everybody else can fill in. And it's pretty cool to be that close and to be a part of the conversation. I know a couple people got picked on last year, and poor Lori Cutler, but she keeps coming. But
she asked for it.
She did. But everybody gets. We have this amazing charcuterie spread. It's just kind of just a little snack before.
Downstairs. So the Walnut House has the downstairs room too.
Right.
So it's kind of like we funnel people through. So they come in at like 5:30 and have snacks and drinks, and then they come upstairs for the show.
And is Allie on Main doing the snacks?
No, this is a really great little local charcuterie place with Tina Becerra. So yeah, she's done it for us every year.
But we are tying in all our local businesses because Tara has already sent me her order for the Alley on Main for dinner. So it's going to be in the green room waiting for her at the end of her second show. So I've got that, and then I'm going to take Judson and I are friends on Facebook, so he's a bourbon guy too, and so we've talked about one of 19 and the alley, so I'm going to try to give him a little tour of some of the best downtown establishments while he's here too. But we're definitely using them for food for our comedy. We love the
you
alley.
just walk right over to the alley and get the food and come right back to the Walnut House. It's great. Yeah. So, but every seat's a great seat. Tickets are $75 to benefit Kiwanis. Boroughcomedy.com is where you go to get your tickets. Again, there's 6 o'clock show and an 8 o'clock show. So you can come to this first show, get a little snack, enjoy the show, go eat dinner, or you can go eat dinner, come enjoy a little snack and a drink and enjoy the 8 o'clock show. So it's pretty convenient either way. So there's still seats available for both shows currently.
Yeah.
I haven't looked.
Either one getting tight?
The first show's typically tight because our sponsors prefer the 6 o'clock show, but we moved the last show up a little bit this year, so everybody's not.
So it's a little earlier. We used to do 9 o'clock, and
so we made it an hour earlier. So that one has actually sold more individual tickets. So it's just.
And what's really great about this show this time is we heard from Judson earlier. He's just such a great down-to-earth guy. Sometimes the comedians are willing to do like photos with sponsors only, and Judson was like, heck, can I have a merch table? I'll come out and do pictures with everybody. And he's got some cute little merch that he sells and stuff, and he's going to donate a percentage of that to Kiwanis. So, anybody that hangs out, after the show, we've got to feed them out the other door to get the other ones coming in. But we've got a few minutes, so if anybody wants to, get a picture with the YouTube guy, they'll be able to do that after the show.
Well, and if the 8 o'clock show starts 5 minutes late, nobody's going to be.
That's true.
Wrong with that.
That's true. Yeah.
But and again, boroughcomedy.com.
Yep.
And you can make your secure purchase right there and choose your show. $75 each. So for a couple, it's $150, and you're going to
drinks, and heck, you'd spend that out somewhere else, and you don't get any entertainment at a restaurant.
Yeah.
That's right. So that's all coming up. So looking forward to that. And what's her Tara Brown?
Tara Brown.
Tara Brown is the opener, and that'll be exciting. I think it's funny that you said that she's already got her order in and blah 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 blah. Judson seems like a guy that would be pretty much a go with the flow kind of guy.
Aside from that Twizzler thing, I've been cutting Twizzlers.
Well, now, without naming any names, have you had any unique items requested for the green room for any of your comedy shows?
Actually, no, not really. But it just so happened last year that Mike Goodwin, of course, we follow our comedians online, and he was going on and on about, guys, it's Girl Scout cookie season, and he's so excited. He loves him some Samoas. We have a cookie dealer in Kiwanis, and her granddaughter sells cookies, so we bought him some Samoas and put them in the back, and he was like, "Oh, my wife's gonna kill me. I don't tell her I ate them all." So, but yeah, nobody's been super weird. In fact, everybody's been. Early on, it was more of a, will you please tell me what you want? We want to have it for you. And then the day of, they're like, oh, yeah, and by the way, and then this. So the little bit of the drama, like the communications was a little tough, but nobody was difficult at all. It was just, of course, when they finally told us what they wanted, we hopped to and did it, so.
I can only imagine you all are just terrific hosts for these people coming in, and they look forward to it.
Yeah.
I know you're working with Andy on Sneaker Ball for First Shot.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about that. It's coming up. Marcus Allen's going to be the speaker.
Yes,
the great
Hall
running
of
back.
Famer. Yep.
And he'll have quite a story.
Yep. So Marcus Allen will be hosting again. PCA is hosting us again in their beautiful gym, and that'll be, the food is by the Alley on Main, and you get to sit and you can get a table, bring your friends, and get to hear Marcus interviewed, VIPs before, get their photo with them. So yeah, and that's all for a great cause for First Shot Foundation. So I'm excited to be a part of that. What else? Kiwanis has a birthday?
Stones River Kiwanis, or Rutherford County Club has a
second birthday coming up, March 30th. We're going to have a big celebration. We'll get a Facebook event up about it, but we want everyone in the community to come out and see what Kiwanis is about. We'll have the whole birthday cake and the whole deal, snacks and drinks, and we'll be accepting birthday gifts for Candle Wishes Foundation. We're also going to have a service project going on for Easter for some kiddos, where you can help put together Easter baskets. So we're going to kind of create the Kiwanis experience for anyone that just wants to come and try it out and help us celebrate our birthday. So we'll get some more information online about that.
Well, I'll tell you, I always enjoy, I know it's going to be a fun hour whenever you guys come, and that's why you're on the list. You come back up about every 6 months, and we talk about good things that are going on in the community, and I really appreciate the work you do. And every time I think about Becky, I think about Volunteer Rutherford, and anybody, if you're new to town, and whether it's Kiwanis that you're interested in, if you're just thinking, okay, I want to get involved in a service organization or something here in town, give Becky a call. She can give you an idea of where you might fit the best, because you had I'm not sure anybody has their finger on the pulse more of things going on with the nonprofits around town than you. So
well, I'm happy to help.
There you go. Plus, you got up early today.
I did.
Chip should feel very special.
I know, I do. All right, that's going to wrap it up for us today. If you missed any of it, be sure and check it out on the podcast section of wgnsradio.com to get your tickets for Comedy for a Cause. It's this Friday night. Go to boroughcomedy.com. $75 per ticket. Shows at 6 and 8 o'clock. Need to do that. Be out there and support these ladies and support Kiwanis and all the fine work that they do. Brian Barrett coming up next, and so keep it here. I'll talk to you tonight from Murphy Center, right here on the Big G, WGNS.
Subscribe to Big G TV, local content that matters to Rutherford County.
To make sure